President Obama has personally apologized to Doctors Without Borders for the United States airstrike that struck its hospital in Kunduz, Afghanistan, killing 12 staff members and 10 patients, including 3 children, on Sunday, and injuring many more. The United States has altered the story of what happened at the Doctors Without Borders hospital at least 4 times. In response, Doctors Without Borders repeated its demand for an independent investigation into what it has called a possible war crime. As Glenn Greenwald writes on The Intercept, quote, "The group's international president, Dr. Joanne Liu, specified that the inquiry should be convened pursuant to war crimes investigating procedures established by the Geneva Conventions and conducted by the International Humanitarian Fact-Finding Commission." Quote, "Even war has rules," Liu said. "This was just not an attack on our hospital, it was an attack on the Geneva Conventions. This cannot be tolerated." Liu emphasized the need for an independent, impartial investigation is now particularly compelling given what she called the inconsistency in the U.S. and Afghan accounts of what happened over recent days. On Monday, The Intercept documented the multiple conflicting accounts offered in the first 3 days of the U.S. by the U.S. military and its media allies. The story continued to change even further after that. As The Guardian's headline noted yesterday, the U.S. admission that its own personnel called in the airstrike, not Afghan forces that had been claimed before, meant that, quote, "The United States alters the story for the 4th time in 4 days. All of this led Liu to state the obvious. We cannot rely on internal military investigations by the U.S., NATO, and Afghan forces." Now we have to go on a little tangent. Consider this. What do Dick Cheney, Barack Obama, and Toys R Us commercials all have in common? They're liars. Noble liars, in fact. Straussians, meaning simply adherents to or students of Leo Strauss. Stay with me. Students of Strauss are believers in what Plato would call the noble lie. That is to say, lies are not only useful in politics, they're a necessary component of running a country. Now, thanks to WikiLeaks, it didn't exist in Plato's time, we know with absolute certainty that no matter which party controls the White House, the government lies to the people, not in extraordinary circumstances, but on such a regular basis that the entire narrative of how we view the world must be called into question. Are you questioning it? But I digress. Most parents, even if they have never heard of him, are Straussians. Think about Christmas. Christmas is a lie, but are we really doing any harm to our kids by telling them that Santa Claus is coming on Christmas morning and giving them tons of presents? It's a useful lie, as parents subcontract discipline to a fat, bearded old white dude who can see kids while they're sleeping and while they're awake, and most important of all, knows when the kids have been good and when they have been bad, and that's not creepy. Speaking of Christmas, think about Jesus Christ. Now, reasonable people don't believe the myth that Mary was a virgin, but that lie gave birth to Jesus, whose credo of "do unto others as you would have done unto yourself" is a beautiful, possibly world-altering advice. A useful lie if you can separate Jesus from his homicidal, impossible-to-please father. But I digress. It's also been said that art is a lie that tells the truth. Think about it. Literature, paintings, theater, music, film, video blogging. All these things exist in a land of make-believe. In fact, I'm probably lying to you right now. But we willingly suspend our disbelief because we believe that in these lands of make-believes, we can experience a greater truth. So perhaps the Straussians are right. I mean, if our parents lied to us about Christmas, it must have been in our best interest, right? And while people in the White House and in the Pentagon and Wall Street, they're much smarter than us, and they have much more elite, and they have our best interests in mind, don't they? No, I'm sorry, I can't let you off that easy. We're constantly reminded that our troops fight to preserve our way of life. As beneficiaries of this lifestyle provided to us by wars we passively support, we are very much like children on Christmas Eve. We desperately want to believe that there's a greater truth behind those lies, that the lie is a noble one. And you don't want to grow up because you're a Toys R Us kid.